it can be really difficult getting intuitive information about yourself. And there's a lot of reasons for this. In this video, I want to go over some of the blocks, some of the things that might be stopping you from getting intuitive information, perhaps some of the reason that the accuracy isn't working out the way that you thought it might, and what you can do about it. Some tips on how to see things a little bit more clearly with a little bit more accuracy when it comes to asking questions about yourself. So let's start with this. The way intuition flows through us, think of it as it flows through your mind. It would be flowing then through the right brain, the creative, that flowy deliciousness, right? And your left brain, the analytical part, the part that wants to pick everything apart, make judgments on it, think about it, wonder, that left brain gets in the way of intuition. So think of intuition as a mail carrier, okay? Your right brain is the mail carrier. It's delivering the intuitive information. Your left brain is a dog that's trying to bite the mail carrier, okay? So your job is to calm the dog, get the dog to sit, stay, leave the mailman alone, let the mail person deliver the information, and let the information go through. Because the minute your left brain gets in the way, the minute it, connects in like that, it stops. It stops the intuition. So it looks like this. You get an intuitive information piece that comes through, all right? And it's an intuition moment that your intuition says, Saturday is the best day to do this. Because you're thinking about when is the best day for me to do this certain event? And your intuition says Saturday. Saturday is the best day. And then before it has a chance to say anything else, the dog, the left brain goes, well, I wonder why Saturday is a good day. Could that be because Beth is available and maybe Tom can come over and do that on Saturday? That might be why. That's your left brain. When your left brain comes in and says, hey, well, let me think about this. Think, that's the key. If you're thinking, it stops the flow of intuition. So the minute your left brain starts to think and wants to pick apart what's coming through, it's the dog biting the mail person. When the dog bites the mail person can't deliver the mail anymore. They're stuck. They got a dog on their leg with teeth. It's not good. So your job is to calm the left brain. Now that I've said that, this will make more sense. When it comes to getting intuitive information for yourself or for a friend or for a stranger, it is always easiest to get information for a stranger. It's also higher accuracy usually when you're reading for a stranger. Why? Because you don't know anything about them and you don't know anything about the situation. And that dog and that left brain of yours doesn't have much to go on because they're kind of out of the loop. Now, when you read for a friend, you kind of know their story, you know their personality, you know what they're prone to do, what they're prone not to do. Your left brain has a lot of information on them. And so it's gonna pipe up. Oh, I'm getting this message that you should purchase this car instead of that car. And then your left brain knows so much about your friend. It knows all the cars that your friends ever had, the ones that their friend liked, what's really happening, what's going on with maybe their financial situation. And the left brain will start to interject. Well, yeah, that is a good car because it's more financially, affordable. And that my friend is really happy when it's, a really good bargain. And, they don't like to splurge. So now I'm going to say this. When that happens, your intuition turns into your thought. That's where intuition flips from pure intuitive moment into what you think. And many times this is so subtle that it's so hard to even tell sometimes that it's happening. Now, all the way over on the other side of this is trying to get information for yourself. The biggest block in that moment is because you have intent, you have desire, you want something. When you ask your intuition, is my sister going to be okay? The answer is yes, or the answer is no. But how can you trust that? Because you have so much fear behind if your sister's going to be okay or not. And then that fear gets in the way. That's where the left brain comes in. It's going to analyze everything. It's going to say, hey, and your emotions and things like that, your desire, your wants, your intent, that also stops the flow of intuitive information. So you can get, I've had students come to me and say exactly this. I was asking if my sister was going to be okay, and my intuition kept saying no. And I was terrified. And then the next day she was okay. So was that my intuition? Nope, wasn't your intuition. That was your left brain feeding off of the fear-based emotions and wanting your sister so badly to be okay. But yet your left brain is focused on the worst case scenario in the moment, which is of her not being okay. So your left brain goes, no, she's not going to be okay. So when it comes to getting intuitive messages that are accurate, we have to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff. We have to train the dog to sit, to stay quietly, to not bother the mail carrier, sit still. We have to get out of our own way. And this is the hard part. We have to not want any outcome. The only way you're going to get really pure, intuitive, accurate information on a situation is if you can completely let go of the outcome. And that is not easy to do sometimes. It's not easy to do. So breaking these three down just a little bit more when it comes to calming the dogs, the left brain. Let's fall into that category of giving you some tips here that you can try. For some people, it's going to be listening to music while they do, the reading for themselves. For some people, it might be, actually, and this goes across the board for if you're reading for yourself or someone else. If your left brain is piping up, if that dog is barking at the mail carrier, then there are a few things you can try. For me, I fidget. If you can't tell, I'm a very fidgety type. And so for me, I hold an object, any object. It can be just beads, or it can be a pen. It can be any object. And I'll fidget with it while I'm reading. And this actually distracts my left brain. It helps to slow down the thought process, because what you're trying to slow down is the thoughts that come through that start with, I think, or maybe, or I wonder. You know what would be best? That makes sense. That's left brain. That's all left brain thought right there. Now, for some people, it might not be fidgeting with something. It might not be that physical movement. It might be sound. If you listen to some very soothing music of some sort, that might help calm the left brain. For some people, it's literally just training it. Catch yourself every single time you hear yourself during a moment of intuition. Every time you hear yourself say, I think, or maybe, or I wonder, or, stop yourself. Tell the dog to sit, to stay, lay down, be quiet. I'll give you a treat later. And for some, it's just catching it over and over and over. And by catching it over and over and over, it becomes more aware in your conscious mind. You're more aware that you're doing it. Then you can really kind of set that to the side over and over and over again when it happens. Okay, that just happened. Stop it. All right, let's get back into the intuitive flow. So really what you're doing when you catch it over and over and over again like that is you're saying to the dog, stop, you just bit the mail carrier, stop it. And you're taking the dog over here, setting him back down and saying, good dog, stay. When it comes to people that hold objects, or it's that physicality, it's kind of like giving the dog, a ball to play with. Here, distract, go over there. And for some people with the sound, it's soothing. It's something for the left brain, the dog, to listen to be distracted as well. So these are all really great ways of saying, okay, I'm going to focus. I'm going to let the right brain, I'm going to let the intuition flow. And I'm now identifying what's stopping it. So I'm just going to let it flow. Okay. When it comes to the other block of knowing what's going on, what you can do if you're reading for a friend or you're reading for yourself, here is one thing that does tend to help. Try it out, see if it works for you. Everyone's different intuitively, everyone's wired differently, and everyone gets messages differently. So try this out. If you know a lot about the situation and you feel like what you know about the situation is getting in the way, that maybe the left brain is providing some opinion instead of the right brain providing pure intuitive information, ask your intuition to show you, to give you a vision or a sound or an intuitive moment in a way that you would not expect. Show me this in a way that I wouldn't understand. Okay, that is a practice that's hard to do at first, but with time and trying it out a few times, you'll find, okay, this works really, really well. Because what they'll do, and I gave someone this example recently. I was reading for a friend a while back, and she was ready to move out of her home. Her kids had both gone to college and she wanted to downsize, but she was really attached to the home and she just wasn't sure if it was the right way to go. So I sat down to do a reading for her. Now, this is my one of my closest friends. I know everything about her. She knows everything about me. And I know what I want for her as well. So can you see all that getting in the way? So what I did is I said, okay, show me, to my guides, to her loved ones, to my intuition, show me what you want her to know, but show it to me in a way that I wouldn't understand, meaning get me out of the way. Don't give me information that my left brain, that dog, is going to go, hey, I'm interested in this. Just show it to me in a way I wouldn't understand. And they did exactly that. So they showed, I believe it was like a fish store or a fish market. And then there was the name of somebody next to it. And I don't remember how it all played out, but I said, okay, this is what they're showing me. They're showing me the sign for this one seafood shop in the town that we were in. And then they're also giving me this name. And we left it alone. I think it was like the next day or the day after, she realized that she got a connection to a realtor and it was that name. And they were right next to the fish store or something like this. That's how it all connected. That was her way of knowing, yes, I should move forward with this. Because the message was, I'm seeing this fish store, I'm seeing this name, and these feel really good, a very positive direction to take. Now, the beauty of that is that it gets me out of the way. So I don't have to, worry that it wasn't my intuition. It might have been an opinion. And it also sets my friend up to be able to get messages in a certain way that makes sense to her. If she had gone near that seafood market and ran into someone and they said to her, oh, housing market's horrible, you shouldn't sell, there's her sign. But instead, it ended up being a realtor that was right over there. There's the sign. That's a yes, go for it. So that can help. Find a way to get out of your own way. Find a way to and just ask for it that way. Show it to me in a way that I wouldn't necessarily understand, but the other person would. Same for yourself. If you want the information, sometimes you have to ask for it in a way that doesn't make sense to you right in that moment, but will unfold to make sense to you shortly after. It's a great way to do it. It's a great way to kind of block that left brain from coming in at all. Now, let's talk about the last piece and throw out some tips around that last piece, which is your intent, your desire, and your want. Accuracy is directly connected to how much want, desire, and intent you have. If you can ask an intuitive question about yourself or about a friend or about a stranger with absolutely no care in the world what the answer is going to be, that's when you're going to get the best information. Hard to do, right? Right? It's very hard to do. Getting intuitive information and setting your desires completely aside is really a challenge, but I challenge you to try it. Because if you think about it, I get it. You wouldn't even be asking the question if you didn't want to know. You wouldn't even be asking the question if you were like, well, I don't really care what the outcome is. But I'm telling you, if you can set your care of the outcome off to the side long enough to hold yourself in an intuitive space and ask the question, your accuracy will go up. So try this. Try imagining like a box or a treasure chest or some sort of container. And you can imagine it. It's off to the side. And when you sit down to have an intuitive moment about something going on in your life that you're curious about, let's say you want to know when you're going to find the perfect rental, okay, or where to look for the perfect rental. Now, your desire is that the perfect rental ends up being in this town over here. Okay. So if you don't set that desire aside, you're going to sit down, you're going to, open up that intuitive channel, you're going to relax into it, but you're going to go, oh, look, it's that town. Of course, it's because your left brain, the dog went, hey, it's that town, because, that's the one you want. And it's really, really, unless you've been honing your intuition and using it for a number of years, it's really hard to distinguish when that subtle desire comes in there. And it does. And it feels like intuition. It smells like intuition. It looks like intuition, but really it was your opinion. Okay. So back to the imaginary, like a little imaginary chest or box or, treasure chest or toolbox, whatever it is, just imagine it right there and allow yourself for 5 minutes to take your desire out, everything that you want, and to put all that desire and want into the box. Shut the lid, then ask the intuitive question. You might have to do this a few times, to be fair, right? You might have to do this a few times, but it's very helpful, and you will start to feel the difference. You will start to feel it. You can ask the question right out of the gate, what's the best town for me to get this rental in? And you'd be like, sit with it. Yes. It's this town. Okay. All right. When you stop, take your wants, your desires over there, you're actually going to feel a little hollow and a little detached, because that's what you want to be, really. It's what you want to feel, is a little detached, or very detached would be even better. I'll be honest. When you do that intent where you take your desire and your wants, temporarily put them over here in the box that you've created, you will feel detached. Hopefully you even feel detached enough that you'll think, well, why am I even asking this question? But you're in a good place. So if you feel that detachment from what you want, then hold your space, ask the question, and allow the intuition to come through. You can even say out loud, I'm taking this out, all my desires and wants, and I'm putting it temporarily over here. You can even say out loud, I don't care what the answer is. No, I just got like goosebumps, soul shivers when I said that. So that might be a good one for you to try. Then ask the intuitive information, ask the question, and ask your intuition to deliver the information to you, and then see what happens. See what happens. But yes, it is very difficult to get information for ourselves. We can kind of get in our own way. Also, I'll give you a couple more. Ask yes and no questions. Try to stay detached from the outcome. I don't care what the outcome is. You can take that desire back on when you're all done. You can be like, okay, the intuitive information came through that it was this town over here, which wasn't the town I really wanted, but now I can go back to wanting this town too. The other way to look at this is by practicing a state of detachment from certain situations, we're allowing ourselves to have a bigger perspective on the situation. One thing attachment does to a situation is it narrows your field of vision when it comes to seeing what's going on. So another benefit to detaching from an outcome is that you get the bigger picture. You get to be in more of an observer position, which gives you more information just in general. When you can look at things and take a step back and look at them from a bigger perspective, you're going to get more information just in general, even just regular information, not intuitive information. And that can be really, really, really helpful. So this practice works for a lot of different reasons. Here's the last tip, and this is one of my favorites. You might have already heard me say this. If you can hold yourself in a space of detachment long enough to ask one question of your guides, you'll get way more information. And there's a specific question. You hold yourself in a space of not caring what the outcome is, trusting in your higher self and your source, and saying to them, tell me what it is I need to know. You don't go in with a topic. You don't go in with a subject. You don't say, I want to know the answer to this situation. Instead, you say to them, tell me what it is you want me to know. Tell me what it is you know that I need to know, and stay open to anything that comes through. What you're doing there is you're allowing your guides, your source, your loved ones who are watching over you, you're allowing them to give you the piece of information that's going to help you the most. And guess who does not know what that is? You. And guess why you're trying to get information? To find out that piece of information that's going to help you the most. But if you can take a step back from being the decider of what that information might be for you, then you'll actually get the information. Because if you think that the piece of information that's going to help you the most is what town you should get the rental in, you're limiting yourself. Because what you might not know yet, but your guides, your loved one, source, universe, they know this, is that the more important piece of information is that perhaps you needed to change a bank or change a realtor or look in a different source of information for the listings. Perhaps that's the piece that is the piece that was blocking the whole thing. And when you say to your loved ones, to your guides, to source, when you say, tell me what it is I need to know, tell me what it is you want me to know, that's when they go, oh, awesome. Okay, you have to go to a different realtor. And you're like, oh, I didn't even think of that. I was so focused on which town that I didn't even think about the fact that the realtor wasn't working out. You go to a different realtor, and all of a sudden that realtor is like, yeah, my friend's going to put a property up tomorrow. She wouldn't even have to list it, or something will happen that's magical and that's perfect for you. But that wouldn't have happened if you were stuck on having to know the town. So the biggest takeaway from this, if you can take this away, please, the biggest thing that I want you to hear today is that when you let go of the outcome, that's where the information is. When you let go of trying to, control everything that's going to come through, that's where all the good information comes in. When you say, what is it that I need to know? When you engage your team on the other side, your guides, your loved ones, and you say to them, okay, I'm open to the higher guidance and not this, not this one particular specific thing that I'm focused on. When you open up your perspective, so much more comes in. So much more comes in more frequently, comes in when you're not even asking for it. It comes in more accurately. You're stepping into, when you do this, you're stepping into a space where you're saying to the universe, you have unlimited ways of connecting me to my correct path, the path that I'm supposed to be on. I gave you unlimited ways to connect me into the direction I need to be going. Whereas before, when we thought, well, if I just know the town, then everything else will work out. Notice I said we thought. When you hold that question up, which town am I supposed to move to? You've taken all of the opportunities that the universe could have, made work out for you, lined it up into this one answer, and you've said to the universe, just tell me that answer. And the universe is like, darn it, if you would have been open to all of the information, I could have told you about this situation. Go knock on your neighbor's door, ask for a cup of milk. And you're like, really? Why? But then you follow that intuition, and your neighbor is like, oh, how long do you live here? I'm moving. How about you? You're moving? Oh, you know what? I found this great rental over in this town. And you're like, score. That couldn't have happened unless you stayed open. And that's the kicker. Open. What is it that you, to your intuition, to your guides, to your loved one, to God, to Goddess, to source, what is it that you want me to know? When you do that, you're just, all the possibilities in the world can hit you. That's where it gets a little bit easier to get accurate information about yourself. And it gets a whole lot easier to get accurate information about anyone else that you're doing an intuitive session with. So try these tips out and see if they work for you. Give them a try, make them unique to you. Do them in a way that it really flows for you. And that's where you're going to connect to your own organic flow and intuition. But never forget that one question. What is it that you want me to know?